Focus. Ideate. Innovate. Enable.
Hello and welcome to the Brands That Build India. I'm Shireen Bhan. On this week's episode, we talk about a brand that's been bringing in colour and beauty to Indian homes. We're talking about Asian Paints.
We looked at other brands, but we liked Asian Paints the most.
Overall, I like the color they have.
It's a prolonged company which is continued with India. So I believe that would be the first choice.
My room is painted with Asian paints only with the new color which have come in.
कुछ गंदा या कुछ भी पेंट मार्क हो जाता है तो I can rub it easily.
We have done the texture painting, which was marvelous, the way they do it.
Over the last 15 years, Asian Paints has moved on to a larger canvas, from paints to home decor. So it's moved beyond just offering products to offering services like the Asian Paints Home Solutions. Over the last 72 years, the brand has grown steadily in market share and is now India's largest paint company. Let's take a look at the Asian Paints journey. The company that is India's largest and Asia's third largest paint company had a rather humble beginning. It was born out of war necessity. As the Nazis blocked British supplies, 4 Gujarati businessmen spotted the need for a local paint brand. Browsing through a telephone directory, they brushed upon the name Asian Paints.
Indians, especially then, always loved foreign goods compared to Indian goods, and left with no options, they went what you call upcountry to the smaller towns and villages, where they met with a fairly positive response by giving initially lower prices, but reining in the credit to an extent. They were able to cater to the smaller shopkeepers who were more than happy that a manufacturer was coming to them rather than they having to go to the wholesaler and beg for credit and material, etc. So business started in that manner, and in a sense it formed the basic ethos of Asian Paints because by going closer to the customer as a company, we were able to understand much more readily what the customer really wanted.
In order to take on competition, Asian Paints realized it had to concentrate on building a brand. At that point, it needed to win over the painter contractor. And so cartoonist R.K. Lakshman created an iconic mascot, Gattu, the lovable painter boy. Through the 70s, Asian Paints released many print ads which featured Gattu. Television advertising that was more consumer-facing started in the 80s with a few corporate campaigns and with the iconic Celebrate with Asian Paints campaign that was associated with festivals.
Most painting at that time was done by festivals, and the post-painting joy of home was overlaid with the post-painting with the joy of festivals. And a festival campaign broke in 1988, August-September. That was the first campaign that I was associated with Asian Paints. And that started a campaign that ran for about 11 or 12 years, right up to the 1990s. In the 1990s, to celebrate with Asian Paints.
Soon we realized that I think we were running out of festivals, and therefore we did something which was slightly different. So we did the whole campaign around colors of happiness, colors of joy, which was around the the birth of a child. And I think that was a path-breaking thing because that happens around the 12 months, and therefore it doesn't need a festival in terms of going into it to that extent. We also then ventured into the space of color because we felt that color was one very strong differentiator where people were in the whites and the ivories and so on and so forth, and we came out with the concept of 151 shades, and we had a very great campaign called the Mera Wala campaign, which we came out with.
Asian Paints कलर कॉर्नर से शेड कार्ड लाकर देखिए, सिर्फ आपको लाइक इमर्चेंट में है रेडीमेड पूरे 151 शेड और मेरा वाला
By the 2000s though, India had changed. The home was now seen as an extension of an individual's personality. And so the corporate brand positioning changed from a paint company to a home decor company. The logo changed, new products and services were introduced, and communication naturally followed suit.
The role of the brand or the corporate brand strategy became about getting customers to achieve self-expression in the home, but the role of the corporate brand also became about helping them achieve it. So empowering imagination became the essence of the brand from enduring radiance, which was true 10 years back. So a lot of the activities that the brand has done is around these two ideas, imagination. So a lot of products, color shade cards, tools, guides, inspirational materials, etc. all became one part of the brand. The second part of the brand is about help. So Happy Painting Guide, which is a spectacular success that the company pulled off a few years back. The idea of home solutions, which is the painting services. The idea of trained contractors, which is that I don't know how to access a good contractor who can do these textures on my walls.
We reached a stage when the corporate campaign moved to Har Ghar Kuch Kehta Hai. We moved from paints to house pride, home pride, a reflection of your personality. So it's a fantastic exercise. I haven't seen such wonderful cases very often in my life.
Today, the Asian Paints advertising is well established.
कितने प्यार से अपनों के लिए कोई घर सजाता है. Asian Paints, हर घर कुछ कहता है.
While corporate advertising for the Asian Paints mother brand uses an emotional connect, sub-brands like Apex Ultima on the lower end of the price spectrum take a more functional tack, but with humor.
बड़े ही अच्छे रंग लगाते हैं घर पर.
The premium sub-brands like Royale and Royale Play use celebrity endorsers.
It can't be any.
The Royale endorsement started with Tiger Patodi because of the royal connection and continued with his children Saif and Soha. Royale Play is seen as a more spirited brand and has recently signed on Deepika Padukone. The creative and carefully planned advertising has helped the brand gain a lot of recognition and loyalty.
I love the games I play.
I kind of always had a kind of backup plan that if I didn't make it in the movies, I wanted to be an interior designer. I would call myself someone who's very, very home proud, you know, and I love taking care of the home, love doing it up, every now and then, and it's been one of my hobbies and it's been a passion for me since I was a child. So this association for me really means a lot.
As far as Asian Paints, a corporate brand, is concerned, there are two ways to look at effectiveness. There's one level where we've done corporate brand advertising, whether it is Celebrate with Asian Paints or Har Ghar Kuch Kehta Hai in the purity form. It is about actually creating emotional affinity with the consumer and make the consumer feel good about the brand. And that emotional equity that Asian Paints has today, I don't think I've seen a number of equity studies across a number of categories. Very few brands hold it.
Beyond advertising, 50% of A&M budget goes into below the line. 10% of this is spent on digital brand building efforts. The website offers tutorials for first-time customers and novices to the home painting process. It's something that Asian Paints realized the need of when it launched the Happy Painting Guide.
SMS करके मंगवाई थी मैंने एशियन पेंट्स की देख हैप्पी पेंटिंग गाइड कलर कैसा हो दीवारों की देखरेख कैसे करें डिजाइन कौन सा हो एवरी आइटम.
If you're painting a house for the first time, you just have to subscribe to this guide through a SMS number or through a web-based tool, and it will kind of guide you through the process of how to kind of estimate what paint to buy, what's the right quality of paint to buy, what color, what is the budget, etc., including the access to a home solutions or a painting contractor. And Happy Painting Guide, because it represented the needs of a large section of the first-time home buyers, became a runaway success in terms of people accessing that service and that having a significant impact on the brand equity of Asian Paints.
A large contributor to Asian Paints' success is how it's kept all stakeholders happy, especially its strong dealer network.
I was called by one of my largest dealers in a small town in Haryana called Yamunanagar. He rang me up and said, "You have to come tomorrow at 4 o'clock. I was in Delhi then. So I rushed there. Said, "Saab, एक लड़का आ रहा है मेरी लड़की को देखने के लिए आज शाम को. आप जरा उसको देखना और बोलना मेरी लड़की के लिए ठीक होगा कि नहीं." He said, "आप जब तक हाँ नहीं बोलेंगे हमने हाँ नहीं कहनी." But that was the faith he had in the company, the faith he had in the company personnel, and we are lucky that it has continued.
Recognizing that not many customers are comfortable walking into dealer stores, they kept improving on the outlets and the retail experience for the consumer. The company has always been a pioneer when it comes to the use of technology. It used computing for supply chain management right from the 70s, and today it offers high-quality color visualization at its retail outlets.
कलर आइडियाज स्टोर के अंदर जो इनकी कलर कंसल्टेंट है वो सारा बता सकती है, उतना ट्रेनिंग दे के कंपनी का एम ये है कि हर कंज्यूमर को, हर कस्टमर को अपना घर कैसे कलर कराना है, कौन से कलर करने हैं, वो सारा नॉलेज देना चाहिए और उनको पता रहना चाहिए कि कलरों में कितनी सारी वैरायटी आ गई। और मुझे ये लगता है कि एशियन पेंट आज की तारीख में एशियन कंट्रियों में सबसे टॉप में इनका नाम है।
एशियन पेंट से हम लोग को मतलब बहुत सारी ट्रेनिंग देते हैं, लाइक फिनिशिंग कैसे होता है, कस्टमर को कैसे अटेंड करना है, उनको ग्रीट कैसे करना है, फिर उनको उनकी फिनिशिंग वाइज, उनके कलर चॉइस के वाइज उनको बजट बताना है, फिर उनका रूम जो एक कलर विजुअलाइजर एक सॉफ्टवेयर रहता है हम लोग का, तो उसमें उनका रूम का पिक लेके आता है वो कस्टमर्स और यहाँ पे एक्चुअल में दिखाता है कि कैसा लुक आएगा।
And of course, nothing makes a brand stronger than happy customers of its products and home painting solutions.
We were looking at the service provider who can actually deliver on time and with very high standard of quality. The feedback that we got from our friends, relatives was that the quality was pretty good, and the final touch that they do, I mean, in terms of the polishing and in terms of the preparation was pretty decent. Another factor that we actually liked about Asian Paint was the way they do it, right? So it was more like a hassle-free kind of an environment. They did the packing of all the items, so there was no damage of any of the items that we have in house. So I think overall we actually liked the way they approach the entire painting solution.
The paint market is divided into decorative and industrial. Asian Paints, which has positioned itself as a home decor company, focuses largely on the decorative segment where it commands a majority share. Operating in the home decor space, Asian Paints is always looking at new areas to expand into much beyond paints. It's time now for a short break, but when we return, we'll speak with brand expert Santosh Desai for his take on Asian Paints.
The success of any tagline is not whether the words are beautiful per se, but whether they connect to the brand and they evoke something worthwhile. In the case of Asian Paints, that is the case.
Welcome back. You're watching the brands that build India, and we're talking about Asian Paints. Joining us now is Santosh Desai, the Managing Director and CEO of Future Brands. Santosh, good to have you back on the show. Let me start at the very beginning, Santosh. Some of Asian Paints' early brand building efforts. Is that one of the key reasons for the company's success? Did having a mascot, early advertising, associating the brand with festivals, etc. really help?
No, I think so. I think, Asian Paints is actually a fabulous example of an Indian company which from its very early days has understood the power of investing in a brand. It has understood how to shape and give form to a category, as well as understood the whole idea of talent and the ability to groom talent. And you look at the category and the challenge that they faced. This is a category which was not a consumer facing category, and it came from the traditional meaning of paint in India, which had more to do with looking at the home as not as an object of adornment, but as a marker of prosperity. And therefore the idea of festivals, refurbishing the house, giving it that glow of freshness. And the mascot in the early days was a way of making concrete and making accessible a brand in a category that people did not have too much interest in. So I think the combination of advertising that was emotionally rooted, grounded, as well as just a handle like a mascot that you could hang your hat on, I think were important markers in the brand's journey.
Alright, on that note, let's take a quick look at what people have had to say about Asian Paints and its advertising.
एशियन का तो बहुत आता है, पहले भी आता था, आजकल भी आता है. I think the Asian Paints says हर घर कुछ कहता है.
Yeah, I remember Saif Ali Khan where he throws the champagne on the wall and they wipe it and the color remains the same. It's really nice.
I remember Deepika Padukone painting the wall.
Deepika Padukone हर घर कुछ कहता है.
Santosh, the advertising is a lovely tagline. It connects with consumers. But could you say that it's more stand out than, say, Nerolac or any of its other competitors for that matter?
I think the success of any tagline is not whether the words are beautiful per se, but whether they connect to the brand and they evoke something worthwhile and evoke something that is real. In the case of Asian Paints, that is the case. I think it does stand apart, not just because they have a fabulous tagline, but because of the meaning that has been invested in that tagline.
You know, Santosh, while the corporate brand advertising takes that very strong emotional connect, har ghar kuch kehta hai, the ads for the sub-brands talk about certain attributes that are important to that particular sub-segment, and they usually have a nice humorous touch. What about advertisements for sub-brands like the Apex Ultima and the Royale Play? Do you think that they've been as memorable and as effective?
Particularly at the lower end, if you look at their brands, I think there has been a consistent tonality to that advertising that I think sits well with the brand overall. At the upper end, again, their advertising has been effective. If there is one element in their mix that I feel they could have perhaps done a little better, it is at the Royal end, where I think it is a little pretentious, and I think this is a brand that is not very comfortable instinctively, speaking to this consumer, and I think that sometimes shows.
Alright, on that note, Santosh, it's always a pleasure speaking with you. Thanks very much for joining us on the Brands That Build India. It's time now for another break, but when we return, we take a look at some of Asian Paints' newest ventures. Stay tuned for more.
I can't atomistically deal with paints as a world. Finally, I'm responsible to the overall look of the home.
Welcome back. You're watching the Brands That Build India, and we're talking about Asian Paints. From kitchens to wallpaper, Asian Paints has moved well beyond paints to establish itself firmly in the home decor space. Let's take a look at how the brand is hoping that har ghar mein kuch Asian Paints rehta hai. Having moved beyond just being a paint company to being a home decor company has given Asian Paints great opportunities to expand. 2 years ago, the company acquired a 51% stake in Sleek Group, a player in the modular kitchen space, a completely new area for the brand. Recently, the brand launched a range of wallpapers under the Nilaya brand. It's also continuously been evolving its range of finishes and textures to enhance the home and interior decor experience.
I think they've really evolved. And I think the new finishes that have come, I mentioned this one, there's one called Aki Concrete, which is, just amazing. It's gorgeous. They have another one called Ironic, which is like it's like a rust finish. It gives you that, jung pakda hua, that kind of look. For us, these are very exciting things.
Rather than look at market share through the paint perspective, if you look at the surface share perspective, maybe the entire idea of the company and what it does for the next 3 to 4 years will change. Like, for example, the wallpaper foray that we have had is a manifestation of the fact that we want to be at the cutting edge of decor, and we still want to have a great share on the surfaces. So these are a couple of thoughts that I can put forth. Apart from that, I think the taking responsibility for a great looking home means that you just can't give paints and get away. You have to get into the undercoats and even the quality of the wall. So waterproofing, our waterproofing initiative through the Smart Care range of products is again driven by the fact that I can't atomistically deal with paints as a world. Finally, I'm responsible to the overall look of the home.
After building a strong bond with all its stakeholders, Asian Paints is also trying to give back to the community, especially painters.
We feel by giving painters better training, teaching them better in terms of how to examine substrates, handle waterproofing, resolving customers' issues, helping customers select colors, do masking, do special effects, etc. They'll be able to do a better job, provide better service to customers, and thereby earn a better wage. So we have tied up with NSDC and formed a joint body where we are looking at training 1 lakh painters every year over the next few years.
The other big area of focus in its CSR activities will be to become a water-neutral company. And efforts have started in Hyderabad along with ICRISAT to conserve water for the manufacturing plant and the neighbouring areas. Asian Paints is hoping to have a positive environmental impact on villages where it does have manufacturing units. That's a wrap on this week's episode of the show. We hope you enjoyed watching it. Do tune in same time next week for another fascinating brand biography. Till then, goodbye. Thanks for watching.
Focus, ideate, innovate, enable.